Morning,
Morning,
Anthony.
everyone. Got a couple of folks rolling in. Wonder where my friend Ben is. Our friend Ben. Go yell at him.
Well, see, Ben figured since he ran the sassy call impromptu alone that he could just take office hours off.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was double booked then. Did anybody actually show up, Sam?
Oh, yeah, there were a couple of us hanging out.
Right on. Oh. So
It was
Tina, would you
mostly the
do
Ben
right?
and Enrique show.
It's kind of the Enrique show wherever Enrique goes. Yeah. Oh, so Tina, would you do Right a Boom again?
Yeah. I had so much fun.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I found those to be sort of informative and fun and all kinds of good stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty much making that a part of my compensation package to go next year, just because it's good for the firm, it's good for me professionally, and yeah, it's not boring.
I really wanted you to be there. In my dance card, my hug card, I
Yeah,
just needed Anthony there and Ben too, but yeah,
yeah.
next year.
Next year, absolutely. Um, Ben is going to be at the next company gig, doing a presentation, so I think you were going to that one as well. You mentioned Tina.
He's gonna be at Connect IT.
I believe he is. He can confirm that. He says he'll be jumping right in shortly. But yeah, I think he's doing a presentation, is what he said. So
Can you come too, Anthony?
we're
Please.
we're in discussions. We're in discussions. The magic eight ball is not looking good, Tina.
Who do I need to email?
Hey, I have to actually let Ben in. How is he not able to join this meeting on his own? That's hilarious. All
We're
right,
not
Ben, there
now.
you are. You know it, man. You know it. So, Ben, catch me up. Are you going to be at some sort of company gig giving a speech at some point in the near future?
Near future, I guess. Yeah, I mean, in the next what, 2 months?
Very good.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna close my window so I don't look like a ghost.
Yeah, I know Ben's traveling, so his current accommodations might not be 100% conducive to this. Looks like we've got just about a quorum here. Hmm,
All right, that's a little bit better.
There
Someone
we are.
said I look like I'm in a basement, but I swear I'm not. I'm on the
It,
second
it
floor.
does look like a Midwest basement. Yeah, it does, Ben. It's with the ceiling thing going on. Everyone, welcome. Always good to see some familiar faces, some new folks. Anybody have any immediate questions about the licensing model that sort of got dropped on us without a lot of knowledge base articles or anything? If anybody hasn't seen that, when you go to uh, uh, into your client area, your organization's area, you'll see a lot of these things might say upgrade permissions. What that is we've massaged how we're connecting APIs and tokens to the Microsoft environment. Now, you don't need to upgrade permissions, especially for our larger partners. They want to have to go through and grab those credentials out of IT Glue and plug them into every stupid stinking client. We have had some edge cases where the connectivity wasn't as stable as we might have liked. And so we have been in a process to go through and rebuild that. Also, to make it a little easier to click once, plug the creds into one spot, and that way organizations and Respond and Fortify are all connected all at once. And you can do that even when you're prospecting now. So that's the carrot. The stick is that for your older clients, anybody who's been on the platform before last week, it'll say upgrade permissions. Again, it's not required, but it's probably a good idea. Now, I think most people in this call are using 365 user. from Kaseya. So there is some changes coming to the licensing model. Basically, we're laying the groundwork for EDUs and SLED in the future. Just know that you may see some changes, some extra options in the in each of the organizations area. And Deepak, what's up, man? What's the question?
Yeah. So and then I just want to ask, if we don't upgrade that permission, will this always gonna show us that particular label?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that'll be around for a while. And
L-
again, there's
Okay.
really no giant downside. I think in the future, the upgraded permissions are actually going to give us access to more of the API endpoints specific to hardware and Intune stuff.
Yep.
But for today, it's not going to break anything. Ben, did I get all that right?
Yeah, I think that's what Adam told us, was that you had to upgrade those permissions before we'll be able to pull in Entra devices into Unify. So that should be coming soon, and that will need to be done. But any new connections going forward will automatically be 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah, they call it Microsoft 2.0. And again, there's going to be some serious advantages when you're prospecting because now you can get them into not just organizations, but Fortify as well. You won't have the credentials, I won't have the credentials, but the prospect can plug those in themselves if they're not going to hand you over the keys to the kingdom. So there's now an upgraded knowledge base article that sort of explains some of that stuff. But we lost our marketing person, Amy, which she's had an excellent opportunity. We're really happy for her. And she's moved to I believe it was Mail Protect or something. Any case, a really good opportunity for her. But we did lose our sort of backdoor access to make sure it's like, we're going to make a change. She's like, not a problem. I'll fire off an email to everybody, and we got that out. Now we've got a little more boxes to check, a couple of bases to touch before that sort of stuff happens. And anybody who's known us for a while knows that we move fast and break things. For an East Coast based company, we've got a very Silicon Valley attitude. We want to bring features to the platform as soon as possible, not just to keep up with the security landscape as it evolves, but because there's some great functionality that we can pump out there. And sometimes the marketing has to catch up. So that's what happened this time. If anybody has any issues or questions about that, happy to dive in deeper, or we could take it offline. Um, Other than that, Ben, what's new on the platform? I think we saw a couple of new templates, and there were some other things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Let's see. You might know more than I do. I haven't jumped in a while. I've been keeping my head down and playing more with the API again.
Excellent,
I
excellent.
had a
Um,
very interesting question on how to set up webhooks, and so I kind of dove into that a little bit.
oh, right on. Anything worth sharing, or is this appropriate?
If anybody is interested in webhooks, I would be happy to share, but I don't know if anybody's actually interested in that.
Hey, here comes Enrique. He's always interested in everything. Um, yeah, Ben, if you're in a good spot to show us if you can do like 10 or 15 minutes, I would love to see that because every time I see you playing in the webhooks, I get inspired for new ideas. Hello, Enrique.
I'd be interested as well.
Good morning, guys.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna give it my best shot here. Need to share my entire screen. All right, let's see. All right, kids. Let's see here. Screen number 1 and 2. I think I'm gonna go with one there. Can everybody see my screen okay?
Looking great, Ben.
Excellent. All right. So you should be seeing the platform. And I was asked the other day, we have a SIM or something that we want to pull in the data into our platform that maybe even doesn't have anything to do with SaaS alerts. So you just want to pull it into an external data source. And there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can do it through the API by querying those every so often, or you can also use our webhooks, which basically sends that data to you periodically as we get it. To do that is pretty straightforward, I found out. You go into the API section and generate yourself an API key. You will need that. And then you put in the URL that will be accepting those webhooks. To test out, there's a great site called webhook.site. It will generate you a unique URL. And let's see here, show it to you right here. Generates it right there, and you can see if you are actually getting data that will show up on the left-hand side. The very initial contact that our system will do will be right here on the left. It'll say that it's a GET request, just making sure that the URL is valid, because if it's not, it will kick it back to you and say, hey, this is no bueno. Need to fix it. But if you're just testing, this is a great way to do it. And any of the data that we send to you will come in a raw JSON format. So you'll see this. This was me playing around with raw data. And there's two different types of data that you will see in our Swagger Hub here. Let's see, you'll see the raw event webhooks, and then you'll see the processed event webhooks. The difference is the raw is everything that we are getting from Microsoft unfiltered. That's everything that we have, and that's stuff that may not end up being in the platform because we don't place certain value on it, or our partners have said, hey, I don't want to see this, and so I don't want to be bombarded with all this extra data. And then you have your process, which that is the stuff that is in our platform. That's the stuff that's made it past our parsers, and it's good data, it's helpful data, but some people like to see both. And I will show you how to set up webhooks for either one, just in case you're interested. There's two different ways of doing this. The webhooks or the raw webhooks is very similar. And let's see, we're going to start by just clicking on here. All right, and get away. If we scroll down, this might get a little technical, but if you have questions, please stop me. Happy to answer. You set up basically what's called subscriptions. And with those subscriptions, that tells our system where to send the data and what kind of data you want sent where. With the raw, it's a little bit more steps than with the processed. Processed is a lot easier. So if you're looking at the raw first and you're going, well, this is super complicated, don't worry, processed is easier. Let's do this. I'm going to jump in and grab myself an API key somewhere around here. Yep. Right. Don't look at my API key. Cool. All right. And then we come back here. Let's, at the very top, let's go ahead and authorize this by scrolling up to the very top of this page and pasting in our API key and hitting authorize. Don't worry about either one of these. You really don't need them for what we'll be doing. You can see, you can pull the list of subscriptions that you have currently, and I apologize if my screen is a little bit cluttered. But if you click on this and we hit try it out and we hit execute, that will show you a list of the current subscriptions I have set up. And I have 2 of them right now. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see, can I move this over a little bit? Oh, I can, nice. You'll see I have 2 subscriptions. You'll defined as the product type, which is Microsoft, the endpoint, which I'll get to in a second. It's enabled, and there's a partner ID and the channel ID and a created date and the URL. Good news is the only things that you really have to specify are the product type, the endpoint ID, and the URL. The rest of this will automatically generate for you. However, if you're making a script, you'll want to make sure that this channel ID is always a unique ID, and there's ways that you can get around, making that generate. You can also, if you use our Swagger Hub, that will also generate it automatically and make it sure it's unique. I also have another subscription, which is a different endpoint, but everything else you can tell is the same. It's just a different endpoint. So with Microsoft, the way that their APIs are set up is they have different endpoints for different data. So sign-in data is one endpoint. Email like activity, sending, receiving is another endpoint. SharePoint is another endpoint. So they have different endpoints based on the data that you want to pull. And that's what you have to specify here, because we pull from several different endpoints, and our system just needs to know which ones are you interested in. You can set up one, for every single one if you want to, but it is a lot of data. Our raw data is, like, it's unfiltered. It's a lot, and it can easily overwhelm you if you have just a little Raspberry Pi sitting with Elastic running on it. I mean, we're talking millions and millions of events within like minutes. So just keep that in mind. That's why we process it. As we scroll down, I want to show you how to craft one of these. And you can make a subscription by doing the post raw subscription here. You'll need to, if you try it out, it's going to present you with this kind of template, but I'm going to make it really easy for you. I'm going to copy a template that I've already set up, and I'll show you what it looks like and how it differs. So I'm just going to hit enter a couple of times. This is the one that I created, and it works great. You'll see that there's a lot of difference between what's specified up here and what is here. You don't need to specify the token. You don't need to specify the expiration. That can all be generated for you. But the stuff that you will need to specify is right here. So hopefully you guys can see that. And I'm going to remove this. So this in the end is all you need. So if you're watching this pre-recorded, you can pause it and just kind of make reference to this. You can make this channel ID whatever unique string you want to. Just make sure it's not the same as one of your other ones. So if you wanted to make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, you can. Just make sure it's unique. It may even need to be unique across the entire system. I'm not sure, but let's play it on that safe side and just make sure it's something a little bit more complicated than just 1, 2, 3. All right, as we scroll down, we do need to give it the endpoint ID, and I want to show you where to find that. We keep scrolling and keep scrolling, and not too far. There we go. Get the miscellaneous endpoints. So this is where we'll get our endpoint ID. And this is based off of the product type, which our system does a great job of telling you all the products that we already currently support. So very easy to find that out. Let's hit try it out. And let's say we're going for Microsoft. You see how we have all the other ones specified here, so you don't have to guess. And when we hit execute, we're going to be given a list of endpoints. So here our endpoint 0 is users. Endpoint 1 is directory audit, shared files, Office. I don't know if you can tell, we also have audit exchange. So can you pull in information about your users' emails that are being sent? Yes and no. You'll be able to pull a little bit of information of when it's happening, maybe who it's being sent to. You're not going to be able to see email contents. It was specifically requested a long time ago that we don't present that data, so we don't even query that endpoint, but you will see data here about email that you normally would not see in our platform. So a whole bunch of stuff. It's 15, or I guess 16, 0 endpoints, IDs that you can pull. And there's some stuff you might not even care about. But if you do, and you want to pull it into your own system, maybe your own Elastic database or something, you can do that with this sort of webhooks. So basically you find your endpoint, and then you come back up here and you establish your subscription ID. Right there, you specify your endpoint ID. So if you want to do 0, and make sure your product type matches, it's MS, which was defined down at the very bottom. Right here. That's all you need. As long as those match, you should not get an error. You'll just be able to establish yourself a new subscription. And in a few minutes, that will start pumping data off to you. We will be patient. It's not immediate, but you'll start seeing kind of clumps of data as we get it. You will get it. So, any questions there? You'll see data come in like this. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Just as a quick reminder, you're going to want to change that API key before I publish this to YouTube.
I always do.
Oh, very good.
I mean, the only thing that you're going to be able to pull with that API key is a bunch of sales data, like from our crazy tenants. So, go wild. But yeah,
Absolutely.
the data you'll see will come in like this. This is raw content. It may be multiple events underneath this um, clump of data. So your system will need to kind of parse that out. But that's basically what our process data does, is it pulls in all this and makes sure that all this data that we've gotten is pretty, which leads me to my next one. Processed event webhooks. I'm going to, can I click on that's back to search? I thought there was a way to get that to go away. Nope, there's not. All right, whatever. Oh, I can make it smaller. All right, so this is very, very similar, except you do not have to specify as much, but you will have to specify it in a little bit different manner. Again, the same thing with your Get subscriptions. I can grab my API key again. Let's see where I put it. And here, I think I'm under the right one. Yeah. I'm going to authorize. I'm going to go all the way to the top and specify my API key and hit authorize. Don't need to worry about the rest of them. I can get my subscriptions and I'll see them here. Very similar. I have a couple of them that I've set up. Rocket Cyber set up a couple of them in our platform too. That's where you'll be able to see they're getting their data from, which is kind of cool. And if I had mine in there, you'll see my webhook. I don't have it right now. Also, just
Rich,
oh, go ahead.
Rich was asking, in subscript mode, does data just flow, or does receiving entity requested periodically? So is it pushed or pulled?
It should be pushed to you. They are, I believe, these are posts. Yeah, so they should be getting sent to you. That's why you're establishing the subscription, is just to tell it, hey, where to send it. Simply just putting in that URL into our platform will not make it actually start sending automatically. You have to establish your subscriptions too, which a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize. I put it in there, I was like, why am I not getting any data? It's like because it didn't establish any subscription. So always those extra steps. Also, if you do establish one and a subscription, you hate it, both in raw and in processed. If you scroll down to the bottom, you can delete them, and you will delete them based off of the channel ID, which is the one that you've established. In both of these, use channel IDs at that unique characters. So with this one is a little different because I'm telling the system, send me the data, but I'm specifying what statuses that I want. That is a required field. So when I come down here to establish myself a new subscription, I don't have to specify an endpoint anymore. But let's see, if I try it out, I will need to tell it a couple of things. And I'm going to paste in the one that I know works for me. It's a lot different than the one that was just presented there. This one, only thing I'm telling it is the channel ID, which is that unique characters. I'm saying that I want the alert statuses of critical, medium, and low. And I'm also saying that I want to continue to suppress those alerts that I have chosen to suppress. It could be a true or a false. You could say, I want to see them no matter what, if they're suppressed. And then this is the URL that I'm sending it to. These are the required fields. These are like the bare minimums, right? So if you wanted to go back to their example, they also say that, you can be specific. Maybe I only want to see a specific customer ID. You can specify that there. That's under organizations where we're listing all of our customers. You can also specify certain event types. Maybe if you only wanted to see, for example, a login success events, you could be very, very picky about what your subscription is relaying and where it's relaying it to. So you can see we can get really, really, really granular with this. But yeah, that right there, that's all you need to go to do. is just make sure that's in there. And once you hit execute, that will start sending our data to your system as we get it. And that would do the medium, critical, and low. If you only wanted to do one or two of them, you would just basically remove them, and you would remove the comma after that. So if you just wanted to do critical, we could always backspace out over those. Just make sure critical is in there. Formatting is important, so try to keep that consistent. But
And for our
that one,
folks that have like medical and financial requirements for longer retention, would that be a good way to get syslog data out?
yep.
Okay, perfect,
Yep,
perfect. Great, great, great use case.
Regurgitate, for lack of a better word, all of the data that is in our system over to you.
And it's
So
everything
that's,
that we see.
yes, everything.
Perfect.
Everything that you specify, really. With the process, this would be everything, Microsoft, Data, Google, whatever. Whereas the raw data, you have to be a little bit more picky because of just the sheer volume. It's significantly more. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. And that's what people pay us to do, is parse out all the noise.
That's why we exist, because
It
Microsoft has
is.
all this data and it's awfully hard to figure out where everything is. So
It's true. It's true.
excellent, excellent. Ben, anything else you want to show us here before I go on my next subject?
I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about that? I mean, I know it covered a lot. Hopefully, it was too fast. Did I confuse anybody? You can be honest.
Oh, I'm confused, but I'm entertained and confused. Isn't that
Well,
the point of this exercise?
if you do have any questions, you can always hit me up on Discord. I created a specific channel for API questions on our Discord because I wanted a place, because technically, even in our support articles, we say we don't support the API because we can get really in the weeds, especially if someone's not really super familiar with them. But I wanted to give people a place to collaborate and to bounce ideas off of, because you can do a lot with it. So
Excellent. Hey, Ben, at the beginning of your presentation, you were actually in our platform. Would you be so kind as to jump back there? Because there's a couple of new respond rule templates that I want to kind of at least touch on, and I really want to get your opinion on one of them.
I think I know which one. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So some of our rule templates are really kind of teaching a man to fish, or a woman, Tina, teaching a person to fish. I
there
want
you
to I want
go.
to no, seriously, and this is what I want to do. I want to show the capability of the platform, but I want to inspire a little madness. I want you guys to dig in deeper. And for instance, like the Unify rules, there's one of them that talks about North Carolina versus South Carolina. What a stupid edge case, but it shows the capability of what's going on here. Now, there's a
Yeah.
new one in here, the adversary-in-the-middle campaign. And if you hover over that, when an account generates the middle of your screen, what in the world is all this? Ben, you've glanced at this, and I saw the look on your face when you did.
Yeah.
Help me understand, what am I seeing here? What can I learn from this?
Okay. So there was an article a while back that discussed the adversary-in-the-middle attack that was happening from Russia, and using a particular user agent, the Axios one. And what our team apparently did is they pulled off all the IP addresses that were known in that article, and said, well, if they come from any of these IP addresses, then trigger based off of a couple of these events. And this one is a heck of a rule. I don't know if I can be brutally honest here, but I would
I
not
think
apply this.
if you're going to be brutally honest, Ben, this is the place to do it. It's a safe space, Ben. It's a safe
Okay,
space.
good. Good. I would not apply this. This is IP addresses change, IPv6 especially. This one seems like a lot to keep up with. The rule that we use in our MSA offering looks for really just the Axios agent being used. And if you wanted to be even a little bit more fine tuned on that, you could look for it coming from the Global Internet Solutions ASN, which I can find the article that describes that. Let me Google that really quick.
Because I think understanding the source, this is, I think, not a terrible implementation, and it does show how very detailed and granular we can get. And there is
Yeah.
value in identifying known point sources, but there's only 6
Um,
trillion IPs, man. Who can keep up with that?
you get an A for effort, I suppose. But if you look at the article, and this is the original article, and we've covered this before, but if you look down at the indicators of compromise, this is the IP addresses that they pulled from. And, kudos for them for trying, but I would much rather hit requiring the Axios agent to be present, which is a filter, and maybe this right here. This is the one that we see all the time is almost a guaranteed bad guy. This company is, I believe, Russian owned, and their IP addresses are based out of Arizona. And all the time when we see this is an immediate account block. But I can create that same rule even more effectively with just those two conditions.
Excellent.
So
Rich, did you want to share any of your success stories? Thanks for shouting out that the Axios rules worked for you. Rick's a little quiet.
this one's so bad that I was like, I can quickly remove it. Oh man, that is so many X's.
It's been every once in a while I get a few of those rules
Every
pop
once
up.
in a while, yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's really what it's there for, is to leave that bear trap laying out there. And if somebody's fool enough to step in it, we've got them. Small aside, I had a partner who built a rule about 3 years ago, and he called me up the other day. This is about 2 months ago, actually, but he called me up a while back. He said, "Hey, you remember that rule we built during onboarding?" I'm like, "No." He said, "Well, it's never triggered until the other day it did, and it actually did its job."
So this one right here, it would be much better if you guys are looking for something that would be much more effective and almost foolproof and doesn't rely on the ever-changing world of IP address swapping, especially with V6. You can get a new V6 every day. But yeah. Any questions?
No, I think that, and the original Axios rule that Rich mentioned, yeah, Rich, we heard you. The original Axios rule was, I believe it's on our Discord, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, it is.
All right.
I need to find the back of this and initial that.
But yeah, this is I think a little bit more effective and yeah. So did you have any other rules that you wanted me to brutally tear apart?
No, that one caught my eye again, because I love, teaching a person to fish, but I thought that one was a little too insect specific. And
yeah, it is. And I mean, in the future, when we start doing like IOCs and stuff like that, I think there'll be a lot more. It'll be a lot more driven by myself and my team as far as what things end up in the template libraries and everything. So there's a lot of really good things on the
Mr. Kennedy, he's so polite. He's like he's in school. He raises his hand, but we're just shouting out, which is what all the rest of us just sort of do. Rich, if you want to unmute, I'd love to hear what's on your mind.
Well, I have a little delay on my computer. Yeah, I have a little delay. Anyway, what I noticed is that when I set the trigger to
Just use any pen. If that doesn't work,
the trigger.
I don't think a regular pen's gonna work either.
Like it will give me three.
but I don't have another black one that works.
Apologies, Rich. We're hearing about 3 conversations there, and you sound like you're standing at the other end of the room.
This is blue. I guess this is all right.
Like, I just want to address the pin thing. Like, I'm always the one that's closed these things. Like,
I'm not editing it.
No. We're leaving this in. I want to see what the AI transcription
Yeah,
does with
so
this.
What about the other day the Dodgers and the Rangers played the San Antonio Spurs? What was going on?
Coming from, I have my
Military or the Navy?
Enrique, I don't know what to tell you about spring training baseball, except I do miss living in Arizona. That's all I'm going
I
to
just
say.
wanted to.
all right. So now, is this any better?
Yes, it's much better.
Is this any better?
Yeah.
Yes, Rich.
We can hear you.
Go ahead, Rich.
Is this okay. Yeah, I didn't realize where the sound was coming in, so I had to move my laptop. All right, so apologize for that.
No, that's all good.
Okay. So here's the question. If I want to reduce the noise of the file events, like down, it's no good?
Hmm.
Keep going.
Can't hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, so the question is, is there a way to kind of say, I want to change the rule, but yeah, I want to change the number of events, let's say 100 events go by, and just get one trigger notification in the rule base instead of three.
Yeah. Rich, if you don't mind exposing, which ticketing system are you using?
Tell you what, I'm gonna bail on this because the delay on my computer is so bad I can't really talk to you.
Yeah, Rich, hit us up because we should be able to stack those alerts into a single ticket. That's the way the system was designed. So if you're getting multiple alerts in email, that's one thing, folks. We're a database. Every single thing is captured in the database uniquely. But as it flows into email, if you're not using a PSA or ticketing system, you're going to get each and every individual database entry. With a PSA, those should roll up into a single ticket with multiple notes or annotations. If you're not getting that experience, reach out to us offline because we want to make sure that that's set up right. Deepak, please, what's on your mind, man?
Yeah. So we were facing one issue that whenever any user use any of the Microsoft apps like Excel, Word from their Teams or from their browser, it generate an alert that outside file location, and it's like a comes in a flood. So
Yes.
I worked with your support team and they gave me one scenario. We need to disable the global alert system, need to create a new rule for that. I did that. But I have multiple rules like that which is based on the location. Like I have a rule like which saying if any of the users signing from China, Russia, it should be blocked. So it is conflicting with them. It's still generating those alerts. So is there any global solution uh, for that till now?
Uh, Two things. I've heard some conflicting stories coming out of support. If they pointed you at, and Deepak, I'm going to throw something in the chat. If they pointed you at one of the articles on that list that is specific to dealing with Microsoft file noise, Ben has a great little 5-minute video that'll walk you through how to quiet that down globally for all of your clients. So if one day, even though your users are sitting in Kansas, Microsoft has moved their data to Dubai, and the next day the Netherlands, and the next day Japan, all of that will be captured but go into a low alert. Only if those IAM events, which is an OAuth, a token, or an interactive login, if those kinds of events happen outside of your preferred country or maybe United States or whatever it is. If I get somebody using credentials from Russia or China or Japan or North Korea, then you will get an appropriate alert. So I'd say dive into that as a temporary fix. Now, we do have something coming that is going to give you a lot more granular control on this. Sometime in the next 90 days is what I am told. I've been told that for a while, but I think this time they're really serious about it. Yeah, I see that smile, Ben. Um, that will give you more granular control of that and a lot more. We're actually laying the groundwork for it. And Deepak, if you're new to the environment, when we built our alerting engine, we said, okay, pretty much anything that happens outside of the United States or outside of your approved location, obviously that's suspect. We want to bubble that up and automatically make that a critical alert. That worked for a long time. And then Microsoft, being Microsoft, sort of changed the rules on us. They started to tell us very accurately where that keyboard was when a person typed logged in. But once you were inside the Microsoft ecosystem, Microsoft then tells us where that file is located that you're touching. That serves them. It really doesn't serve us a lot. I mean, if I open up a spreadsheet, do I really care where it's stored? I'm not in the defense industry. I don't. I just want quick access to my data. So when Microsoft started moving your data all over the globe, yeah, it kind of made a lot of noise. So take a look at that Getting Techie. I believe it's number 9 on there. That'll show you how to quiet it down until we can give you a little bit more granular control. But the fun fact is this: we're showing you things that Microsoft is doing with your data and your instance that a lot of people had no idea was happening. We're showing you service accounts that are resetting things, the NT Authority sys, look and help, and the knowledge base, if you're not familiar with that. We're showing you all kinds of stuff. So it's a double-edged sword. Again, having all this great data, now we kind of have to decide what's important to me that I really want in front of my techs and engineers, and what do I just want in the log for analysis later. So thanks, Deepak. Great question.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We've covered a lot of ground here today, guys. Anything else that is top of mind? Ben, remind me, when are you in front of the crowds speaking to the minions? Is that in 2 months?
Minions. Yeah, I'll be at so far the plan is for me to go to Connect Global in Vegas into April, I think.
Excellent.
And we'll be doing the adversary-in-the-middle talk, how to protect against it, both. Oh, nice. Happy birthday, Ding. And so how to protect against it with Microsoft, with SaaS alerts, and also be showing off a really cool program that I recently had the pleasure of diving into called Graph Spy, which was really cool, using device codes to gain access and bypass MFA and do all sorts of really nasty stuff.
Excellent, excellent. Ben, I think Jim is also going to be making an announcement at that. He's going to be there as well, isn't he?
I think so. A lot of people are.
Yeah, a lot of the people, like not us, but
I mean, if I can get you to come and help me with my webinar, I would appreciate it.
I think you just need to inform the team that that's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I know that in the teasing in the future, Jim's been pretty public about it on some of the SASE calls, but he's got some news that's coming, some things that are going to be announced then. So there you go. Yeah, get Tina on stage. You want as charismatic as Tina is, that's exactly who you need as your Vanna White or whatever.
It's only going to be like 200 people, so I mean, as long as you're cool with that.
Right on. If there's nothing else, anybody else have any parting thoughts or questions before we break? All right. I hope to see you all in 2 weeks. Join us for the Thursday meetings for continuous updates. But if we can help out in the meantime, reach out to your account managers. We're always happy to jump on these calls. Y'all take care.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, guys.